Hey guys, Nathan Brendan Masters, and if you've been following me on Kickstarter or on Twitter, you probably know I'm about to do the last issue of Curse Risen Communion of the Fallen. This is an NSFW urban fantasy comic book created in AI using the Wumble Dream app. So today we're going to put together one of the last pages in the book, and this is when we bring Patrick back around. We haven't seen Patrick for a long time, him and Thorn. Thorn has gotten dressed for the wedding and everything. She's ready to go, and some crazy stuff goes down. So let's jump into it. And I already have some assets here. And this is Patrick. I've already run him. And I think I ran him and I ran Thorn at this point. So this is the basic setup. This is him in the temple. So what we want to do is we want to get Thorn behind him. I have her layer turned off, so let's get that turned back on. And you see her there. And I have him duplicated on a different layer. So I'm setting this up so I can move all the assets around separately. Let's go ahead and do this from the beginning so you can see how I do this. I'm working in Pixelmator. Of course, this is something you can do in Photoshop and a lot of these other programs. So I'm going to just delete this layer and we're going to start anew. I'm going to go ahead and copy and then I'm going to paste. So just Command C, Command V, or Command A, Command C, and Command V. So we get the second layer. Now up here I can go to remove background and it's going to remove it just like boom. All right, now the issue is if I turn that off, you're going to see some of his arms are gone, and we need to actually fix that. So what I'm actually going to do is just kind of basic thing here. I'm going to go ahead and get this selection tool. I'm not a particular fan of the selection tool in Pixelmator, but what we're going to do, go ahead and just jump to that layer, and we're just going to select these arms here. I'm going to select that one and go ahead and select the next one. And we're just going to go ahead and we're going to hit Command C and back up here. And we're going to do a Command V. Let's get back on the right layer here. Move that down. I turned the layer on, but I didn't select it. So let's just move the arms above Thorn so I can connect them to Patrick. And what we want to do now is merge these so that when I move him, I move the arms as well. So they're literally going to be one thing. And bam, it's a single layer now, and I can turn it on and off as needed. So let's get rid of the halo because I want to have him by himself because I might want to get rid of this background, which I'll probably do. So let's get her positioned up first. And she's a little bit taller than him, but I want to try to get it. I don't want her that far back because if you remember, he was taking her to the wedding. So she's not that far behind him. So at this point, this point in the story, he's like looking at all of the chaos that's happening. So you guys remember from the original version, there was a lot of chaos at this wedding. I don't want to give away what happened for those who don't know, but let's go ahead and what we want to do is get this halo out. And so we're going to go and get the selection tool again and just go around here. This is a pretty clean cut, so I should be able to just go around here. And I'm actually on the wrong layer now that I'm looking at it. So let's go to the right layer and clip it out to the top layer. Bam, there you go. That is gone. So there you have your two characters, your two assets. So I'm going to close the original, get that out of here. And now we're just working with this so we don't get confused. So I'm going to grab some more stuff out of here. We need some angry demon girls. Angry demon girls, angry vampire girls. But this isn't the one I wanted. I wanted the other one that was outside. Let's see. These two. Grab that one. and that one. And I think we're good. Okay, we got some angry ladies, mad as hell. This didn't work out. One of them even has a flag. We're not going to see all that, but that looks great. We have these ladies up here in the front. Very good. Okay, now we got several assets. Now what we're going to do is we're going to move this behind them. So let's look at, now I could realistically just keep this like this, but that's not that doesn't tell the story the way I would like for it to tell the story. So we're going to do some panels. So let's move this up right here. And what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to kind of clip this a little bit. So let's get here. I'm going to take this bottom part off. That looks pretty nice. And first though, let's make another layer. And I'm gonna do a black background. You know, that's what we do. We do the black borders, and that kind of holds everything together. But before we do all that, I was going to do this on a separate page, but I ended up doing it over here. So let's go ahead and up-res this to 300, and we're going to put the page width to 7, and the height will automatically adjust. I'm going to have to go back in there later anyway and adjust the page to make it the actual proper size for our printer. Now we're going to make a new layer and pull it to the bottom and just use the paint bucket to make the whole layer black. And that's the way we're going to get our black borders. We're just going to position the images around it to create the borders. Now I'm going to go back for my ladies that were outside, and we're going to grab them and bring them in. We're going to use them to add to the confusion of the ceremony. So let's grab them. So we have them. Let's go back to our other angry lady, shall we? We used that top portion, so let's go ahead and use the bottom portion, but let's up-res it first. Again, we're going to use the image drop-down menu. We're going to do image size and change the resolution to 300. Also, this program actually uses AI to up-res things. So when you do a 300 up-res, it's not blurry at all or anything like that. It just up-reses it. So I'm going to go ahead and make this smaller. I'm going to have to make this a lot smaller actually, and pull it over. And what we're going to do is go ahead and line it up and then just kind of clip it where it needs to be clipped. So line it up so it makes sense and looks good. And once we get that in there, let me go ahead and turn this off so I can see what we're working with here. Okay, we got that. Turn off this one, see where that's at. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and make our cut right here. And make sure I'm on the right layer. And there we go. Turn it back on. And that's what we have. Obviously, we want to move this bottom half up a little bit so that we close in this gap. We don't want our panel borders to be too thick, so we just do it like that. And this is pretty much perfect. So now we need to clip the bottom of the last one off, and we're going to actually put something under there. So we'll have 3 panels under the main image. It's going to look kind of nice. It's going to look dramatic, and it'll still tell the story while not getting in the way, while the main image doesn't get in the way of what's going on in the background. So that's going to be pretty nice. But you know what? Let's bring in the 4 panels. I want people to be able to see this young lady's face. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off and just see exactly what we have back there and how we can work with it. So let's go ahead and cut right here. And we're going to pull her off to the side. And that's going to make a different panel. Let's see. Just like that. Not too much. And back on. It looks good. I do think the panel border is a little bit too thick though, but let's see if I can just go ahead and move her over a little bit. See what we get with that. And I'm just using the arrow keys to nudge this. So we're just going to nudge this over just a little bit. And I think that's nice. That lines up. And I'm going to go ahead and merge these 2 layers now so that they're together. See right there. We're going to merge it. Bam. 1 layer. And now when I deal with it, I'm just going to be, I can just deal with it as one whole layer. And I can go and cut this bottom off here. And let's cut off a little more right there. And we have some space down here. And I'm doing this space because it's going to be like a lot of narration, maybe a little bit of dialogue. But I want people to still be able to understand what's going on in the background. So I'm making this where there's a lot of confusion, but people can still see from Patrick's point of view, Patrick and Thorne from their point of view, like, what the heck has happened? They came into the wedding late, and already the wedding has devolved into something crazy. And you can see on Patrick's face this look of what the hell is happening right now. So I do try to get those emotions and things in. Sometimes when people do AI art and AI comics, they forget to have their characters or to give their characters emotion. They just create the image, but they don't put the emotion behind it. So their characters don't look like anything is happening with them. You made a pretty picture, but the art isn't really telling the story. Now, in case you didn't catch that, I moved that panel back off to the left. And what I'm going to do is pull the panel off, the panel on the right. I'm going to pull that panel, or I'm going to stretch it a little bit. Since it's behind his back, we won't see any distortion there because the only face we see in that panel is Catalan. And she's a little bit angry about all this as well because she doesn't want to be a concubine. She wants to be the wife. All right, so I have all of this together. So we're just going to go ahead and merge it into one so I can work with it that way. So far, so good. Now we're going to go and just cut it right about here. There we go. And now we're going to grab our panel. We're going to get our ladies that were outside, because now I can place them and we not know that that scene is outside. I can actually cover it up with the main image of Patrick and Thorne. And just, it's just something else that's adding to the confusion, and people won't really see that it's outside the Lillian Temple area. But this isn't really finished. This needs something to tell the story a little bit more. It needs a starting point. So I'm going to run a new prompt, and that prompt is a big group of angry vampire and demon women standing in a demonic temple at night in white robes, yelling and shouting and pointing. It's a riot. So let's see what that gives us. Let's go ahead and we're going to use the Horror V3 style. And I'm using Wumbo Dream, and Wumbo has a lot of styles, and this is the Horror V3 style. We use it a lot. And that's what we used to get the image of Patrick. And I'm actually going to change the aspect ratio to 16:9 so it's already horizontal when it runs. And we'll see what we get. And I don't think this is going to, there we go. That's perfect. That's just right off the cuff. Let's see what else we get. Nope. Nope. And nope. First one right there. Bam. That's what we need. All right, guys, let's get it. We're going to take this and we're going to import this in. Let's download it right there. Bam. We'll get that and go back to our program here. We're going to find it in our photo library and import it back into the program right there. And we have it. We're going to go ahead and up-res it to 300 DPI. So that'll be taken care of for us. And we're also going to change that width to 7. And bam. Let's get it. Now we're going to go ahead and make this image black and white. So when we import it, actually all of that is going to be black and white. So we got that. And let's play with the curves adjustment just a little bit here. Let's copy it, and then we're just going to bring it over to the other page. Now I'm going to move the panel at the top of the page. And so let's set this down here for now. But I'm going to go back up there and grab that. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I don't want this. This is the panel that sets everything off. This is where they start yelling and screaming and all that good stuff. So we're going to go and cut this just like that. I'm going to hit Command V, paste it back so it's its own separate layer again, and then just pull it down to the bottom. And of course, go back to that layer, go back to the layer with the new panel and just grab it and put it up here to where it looks like it makes sense. Just pull it down a little bit, and there we have it. That's it. So now all I have to do is go back in and shape everything up to match up with this, and we'll be golden. So you got your panel there, it sets everything off. Now that middle panel is on its own layer again, so we're going to go ahead and move that down a little bit so we can get that back to where it's supposed to be. Now I'm going to grab this middle panel and move it over a little bit to try to get it where I want, because I really do want the lady's face right that's off to his left. I want that face to be seen. So I might have to make this bigger, or let's see. Or I could just do that. Okay, that that's nice, but we're getting some space over here, so I still might end up having to make it bigger. Yep, that works. That works. Okay, now we have to go and fix this panel underneath. Let's just make sure that that's a clean. There we go, that's clean over there. Now let's go ahead and fix this bottom panel here. So we're gonna do this, since we already know what this panel is. We're gonna have to cut a little bit off the top here, but we want to line it back up where it was, right there. And we're going to go ahead and clip this top off. That top is from the other panel that was there. So we're just going to go ahead and get rid of that. And we're good. Now we have to get rid of the gap in there. So we're just going to make it a little bit bigger, line it up so people can actually see what we're trying to show them. There, they see the angry fist in the air. Let's make that bigger. And right there, pull it over a little bit. All right, so we see that, and bring it down here. Think that's good. I think that lines up. We can see what's going on back there. Let's clip it, give it its own panel so I can move it around by itself. Now I only took the left side of this image, and I'm going to take the right side of the image and pull it over so it can be something different over here. You know what? Let's delete it. And let's go to our ladies that were outside. So let's go grab them. We're going to go ahead and copy and paste. First, up res, of course. And it's 300 DPI for print. Some people are doing 600 DPI for things. 600 DPI is what you're doing when you want to do like a big blow up. 300 DPI for basic normal print. So we're going to put this back over here. And what I just want a few of these ladies in the background. Now, we're not going to see everything. Obviously, Patrick and Thorn are hiding it, and that's what we want. We don't want people to really know that they're outside the temple wall. We just want people to see that there's chaos going on. So we're going to line this up just to see if we can get some people back there. And we're going to make this a lot smaller. And then I'm just going to position it back there where you can see all the chaos going on, and pull it down just a little bit so that we get that gap. I'm gonna go ahead and cut it at the top here, and that should be all we need to line it up. And there you have it, right there. So this is your page for the most part. I just have, and the thing about it, it's already somewhat blue, but I want to match it up a little bit more. I need to match that top panel up with the bottom panels. So zoom in, because you're going to have to look at places you're going to have to fix. This nose, this face up here, that stuff's going to have to be fixed. That face up there doesn't necessarily have to be fixed, but I have an idea when it gets in the print, it's going to be noticeable. So we're going to have to go ahead and fix that, but that's going to be something that happens later on. Right now, I'm just putting the page together. I have an artist that specifically fixes that type of stuff for me, so I'm going to let him have at that. So let's go ahead and finally merge Patrick and Thorn. And if you notice, everything else is on this page is going to be in black and white. I'm going to let Thorn keep her color because I want the red and stuff that's on her. Everything else is going to be done in black and white. So I'm just going to end up separating all this stuff out I'm going to merge the background into one panel, and then I'm going to make that whole layer black and white. But first, let's go ahead and do what we need to do and change this page size. Our page needs to be 7.10.5 inches for our printer. So that's what we're going to do, and then they'll work with it and then trim it down to the actual size it needs to be. So 7 by 10.5 inches. What that's going to do is actually stretch this out. So I'm going to have to go back in there and widen it to the way it's supposed to be. And obviously, once I do that, I'll just put it back in the proper position where it's supposed to be. And then after that, of course, I'm going to have to go and work with Patrick and Thorn and pretty much do the same thing. So let's go ahead and grab them, and we're going to stretch them out. I still have the constrained proportions on, so we want to uncheck that, and then we want to do it. So we're looking good right there. And let's go ahead and turn our layer back on, just like that. And we are golden. Looks good. All right, so now we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta go ahead and then make this layer, second layer, we have to make it black and white. Let's turn off our top layer. Make sure your second layer is selected. And we're just gonna go all the way down here, and we're gonna go to black and white. And remember, this is in Pixelmator Pro. Now I'm going to select the bottom half to kind of match it up with the top half as far as the curves go. Make it, the same amount of darkness and stuff like that. Just match it up, because what I'm going to do after this is, well, first let's get this right about there. Too much. Right there. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to sharpen it just a little bit, again, to match up with the top of the panel, just a little bit. And we're going to check to see if everything is matching up. See what we got here. So far, so good. We're going to go ahead and turn our top layer back on. And there we have it. So everything is matching up. Everything looks good. Now she's still blue. She's still got a little bit of color in her, and she's still got her red and everything. I want to keep that. We're going to have to fix those fingers later, but turn that off again. And we're going to go and add a LUT, just like we would do in filmmaking. We're going to add a LUT right there. That's our LUT we add for this. And then we're going to turn the top layer back on, and we're going to do the same for him. So let's go ahead and select that top layer, and we're going to use the exact same LUT. It doesn't matter that she's going to be a little bit bluer. That's fine. We're going to go right there. Boom. And everything matches up. And for all intents and purposes, this is our page. Now we're going to do one more thing. And if you notice, this all looks a little bit jumbled. So what we have to do is separate him and Thorn from the background. We're going to do this by adding a glow in the background. And I'll show you how to do that. We're going to duplicate the Patrick and Thorn layer. And what we're going to do is turn that layer as white as we can. And we're going to go up to our effects, and we're going to blur this duplicate layer. Then we're going to go over and turn that blur up a little bit till we get it just right. We don't want it too bright, and we don't want it too dull. We just want it, we want it just right. Move that under them, and you will have your glow. Let's duplicate that layer right there, and perfect. So let's merge those two glows. That way we can work with it as one thing, and we can actually throw some color on it. So we see if we want to actually do that or not. And I think I want to kind of keep it just, well, that does kind of stand. Mm, mm, you know what? Let's do this. Let's get into our color balance down here. And to do that, it's just Control A. To do that, it's just Command A, and then you scroll down. And we're just going to kind of turn these to right here into that blue just a little bit. Right there. And we're going to do that with all of these. pull them right around the same place. It doesn't have to be 100% precise. We just want to get a little bit of blue in there. I probably could have just did the LUT. I didn't really think about that, but either way, we're good right now. And this is what it looks like. So if you get this book, you'll see this page in there. Mind you, this book is not for the kiddies. There's some spicy stuff going on in there. I sped some things up to do it. Took me about 30 minutes to pull this together. Of course, that's minus creating the assets. So I did all these prompts prior to pulling the page together. The Patrick and Thorn were actually pretty simple, especially considering she's in her white robe. I'm just going to merge all this together, and here we have the page. So if you have any comments or questions, let me know in the comment section, and I'll get to you as soon as I can. I'm actually still working on the book, and I'm still going to do a little bit more on this page. I want to move him off to the side a little bit, and I can just go back and do that. Other than that, you guys take it easy. Nathan Brendan Masters. I have the link in the description if you want to follow the book. Hope you enjoyed this. Hasta.
Don't look back, we're here to stay. A life we knew would come one day. And this is it, the borderline to where the future leaves us behind.